Good morning. This is Kim with www.embody-light.com. I decided to make a new video on what to expect with an embody session or in an embody session. I've made one before, taken it down because things have changed. So I'm recording in my office. I don't always do this. A lot of times I'm against a different purple wall, but with all these, I'll show you these bowls in here. Sometimes it makes the sound really echoey, so I don't always do that. So frequently I'm asked what to expect, and everybody is so different. It's hard to give a general answer because it's based on you and your energy. So the first thing I want to talk about is if you go to my website, it lists a lot of things we're going to go into, but there are basically 4 different types of sessions you can set up. I do readings. For now, I don't know if I'm always going to do those, but there's a 30-minute reading and a 60-minute reading. Next is a quantum healing session. That's what I'm going to spend the majority of this time talking about. And then a self-awareness program. Okay, so let me just preface the self-awareness formula program is a very involved session. That is probably going to be about 2.5 hours that we spend together. And it also takes about an hour prep time on my part. I send you to a website that has you take a 120 question questionnaire, and you get a printout of numbers. Those numbers I then take and make a formulation of, I will take the amount of numbers you have and your age and divide it. And it's going to give me a number, maybe 4.5. So then I'm going to know every 4.5 years you've had this cyclic trauma. And I'm going to map out, because each of your organs has an emotional function. So I map out, this is what was going on here. And if you are not able to clear this energy, there's potential down the road for you to have a problem with your gallbladder or whatever the situation is. So we go through all that and talk about it, open the energies up, and then we do the healing work. Same thing we would do in a quantum session. And then if you do this kind of session, you actually get a printout of how you've been managing your energy. Because basically that's what I do. To start off with, how should I phrase this? If you've ever heard the term divine inheritance, that means we have the divine right for abundance, prosperity, health, happiness, loving relationships. But if you've ever heard the term the illusion, well, that's what this planet is. It's the illusion. It's the illusion that we cannot have these things, that they are hidden from us. So what I do in any session is I am looking in your field where you are mismanaging your energy to think of things in an illusionary fashion, you could say it that way, which would lead you right into shadow function and where you really don't want to be, or what is truth and how to manage your energy. Because it's really the responses that you make that really determines the course of your actions. Okay, so what I would do, I want to touch on one other thing before I start this. I have hypnotherapy listed as one of the things on my site. That is something that I may use to enhance a session. I don't use it every time. It's not always needed, because that's going to take 20, 30 minutes away from our time we could be doing energy work. And if you don't need it, you don't need it. But as I start doing these procedures that I do, people automatically go into an altered, enhanced, deeply meditative state. So it's just not necessary. I only use it if somebody's, maybe it's a first time or they're real resistive. You have some people tell you, I can't be hypnotized. I've never had that happen. What it is some people have a misunderstanding of what hypnosis is or hypnotherapy, and you have to spend time explaining it to them. Then you don't have any issues. So the reason I might use that sometimes is because if the individual I'm working with is especially stuck or maybe just starting out, and I may need to use it more with men also, because men are a little more blocked emotionally than women, typically, not always. So because what it does is you go into this deep state of relaxation, but your senses are hyper alert and you can easily recall memories because when you do hypnotherapy or hypnosis, you block the critical factor, the part of the mind that says, no, that's not possible, that can't be happening. So it's up in the air if I'm going to use it or not. But although I do see people who would only want hypnotherapy for some reason, and then that would be an hour session. So I would just schedule a 1 hour psychic reading and then maybe send me an email. That's my dog under the table moving it. An email that you're wanting to do a hypnotherapy session. We also can do past life regressions too. I should touch on that. But I typically, when I'm working with somebody, I don't do them the first time. For some people, it seems a little far-fetched and you have to kind of get them used to the idea of hypnotherapy. But then because, and I'll talk about this with the quantum session, because healing doesn't happen in the past. You can't do a past life regression, go back and do healing from something that happened hundreds of years ago. Because life is quantum, I'll just say it that way. Whatever happened in the past hundreds of years ago that you have not completed or cleared up is playing out again this time. So you do the healing from the now moment. So, and what you want to do also, because if somebody just curiosity wanted to really understand how things worked out and they really wanted to do it, the thing is you want to at least clear out those things within their reality that are bothering them, being the most presenting issue, because it's going to distract them from that. Now, if I had somebody who'd been doing spiritual work for years and years and years, and they've actually remembered some of their past lives or that kind of thing, that would be a different story. We could probably do that in that first session. I just don't want to do it and spend all this time on it and have a session where you're not able to do it yet because you're not quite ready, and then you're frustrated and you think you can't, and you've wasted your time. So now I'm going to talk about my quantum healing sessions. So to start off with, all healing comes from your spirit, your own divinity. And we used to, at one time in our early history on this planet, have the ability to heal ourselves. I don't know if everybody did, but many did. So, but after the flood and the drop in consciousness, that ability was lost. And so, just to kind of preface this, to start off, I had started my career, I worked as a nurse for many, many years. And I was really noticing a lot of energy kind of things. And I just kind of started watching and observing, and I decided I wanted to go this way. I knew they were missing something. But at the time, there was healing touch. It was being known, Reiki, healing touch. It was being offered in hospitals. Well, I had small children, so I started self-studying, and I knew I had issues. I started studying the hands of light. And I just would start practicing on it with my children and different things till I kind of got so that I knew it worked and I trusted it. And then I kind of combined things. But so if you come to me in a session, I use my intuitive abilities. I use my mental abilities as well, because I've taken much training over the years to learn how to do this. And I'm going to talk to you because you often know what the problem is. Not always, but often. And we're going to use all parts of our mind, because the point is conscious everyday awareness where you are realizing things in the moment and not letting yourself get disempowered. The other point I want to make too before we start, now I do readings, but primarily I'm a healer. So if you want someone who can tell you once your Uncle George was wearing at his funeral, you'd do better with somebody else, because I get information, but that's not really my life purpose, just talking to deceased people. I'm helping you to move the energy. Often your deceased loved ones will come through in a session, but that is because they're there to help and support the healing process. And sometimes they're their higher self, they may even be already incarnated again, to help me and you to understand what actually happened so that you can heal it. So that's kind of more how I use the reading part. So you're going to come to me for a session. This is going to be, it's scheduled for an hour and 15 minutes, and sometimes it does go a little bit over. I actually block my schedule now so that I only see one person per day because, well, for a while it was getting to be a little too much. We have our own things we deal with as well. And not only that, if it's a really intense session, I need to clear myself of that energy and complete it before I start with another one. And it just works better for my life right now. So that's what I'm doing. But so what I'm going to do is we're going to have this talk, and I'm going to ask you, what is it that you think that's going on, or that you've noticed? And we're going to have this talk, and then I feel things with my hands. If you've ever noticed when I'm talking, I'm like this, well, that's a sign of a healer, because we are moving a lot of it. I always thought maybe I was some sign language person in another lifetime, but that's not it. We are moving a tremendous amount of energy through our bodies and with our hands. So I'm going to start, I'm going to ask for your permission, and then I'm going to scan your energy field. And different things mean different sensations I feel, and I may get mental pictures or hear little things, are going to mean different things to me. And I'm going to be able to tell where you're blocking your energy. Now, I'm going to be able to tell if you're not only which chakra, and I know what the function is and how your life's probably manifesting because of the way you're blocking. I'm going to be able to tell if you're, because we have masculine and feminine energies within us, and we need them both. We function best if they're balanced. And I'm going to be able to tell where you're out of balance, masculine, feminine. Let me give you one example. So say I scan someone and I feel in their field, they're withholding the masculine side, but the feminine side is wide open. Well, I'm going to know that that's usually related to some unresolved issue with an authority figure or a fear. It could be a parent, government official, cop, teacher, older sibling, anything, boss. If they're in fear, they're partially blocking at their crown. Then I'll be able to tell, well, you're really blocking that masculine side. So that's going to tell me maybe it was a cruel man or a mother that you just couldn't read. There can be so many reasons. But then maybe, so I'm going to keep scanning, and then what I'll find is maybe I'll get to their third eye. And because they're blocking their masculine side for whatever reason, now their third eye, there's going to be a front aspect and a rear aspect. The front aspect is the feminine aspect. The rear aspect is the male aspect. They may be real active in the front and just almost nothing here. That's going to tell me they may be getting some divine ideas and inspirations, but that they are afraid, or whatever reason, they're having trouble bringing it through into their world, into their physical world. The masculine's more the get it done, the business kind of thing. So say somebody maybe has written a book, divinely inspired book. They would have difficulty getting it published, bringing it out into the world. That's how that would work. Common is the heart, so we're going to go through and find all these. And the people, as I'm talking about it and describing it to them, they may be able to tell me, oh yeah, but that was this, and this, or this happened, that happened. So we do all that. Then we do some exercises where we take, first of all, I flood you with light. It's very enlivening. I flood you with light. Then we do some exercises where we take your power back and we take back vows. I'm going to do a separate video on vows and the spoken word at another time because it's quite extensive. We cut those energetic cords because most people, we are connected with energetically through our solar plexus. Well, that's about power, control, the mental body. We want to disconnect that so we can make heart-to-heart connections, true connections, and ones that aren't based in manipulation, power, and control. So we do all that work. Then we go in and find those specific energy blocks where, okay, so say I get to your heart, and this is the example that's so easy to understand and I always use. And I find you're blocked, and I find that it was maybe a relationship, or you're helping me find this. This isn't just me. I'm asking you questions. I'm telling you, this is what I'm feeling in your field. What is this? And they're maybe like, oh, I don't know, I don't remember. And I'm like, I'm seeing like a 19, 20-year-old, and then they're like, that's it. See, the guides don't give me all the answers because at this point, they tell me in this type of work, often it is more beneficial for the client to remember themselves. I'm there to help you remember and to reclaim your energy. So we're going to go in and say it was some relationship that broke up and you never got over it. We're going to get that other person's higher self and we're going to bring them into the session. I know it sounds silly, but it can be very healing. You let them know how it affected you, what happened. Then I have you speak with their higher self. Now, with practice, people can get this, but typically, they need my help. So I'll connect with that other person's higher self and I'll say, well, I'm connecting with this energy, this gentleman, he feels like this, and this. Is this correct? Because I want to check. And they'll say, yep, that sounds just like him. Okay. So here's what I'm getting. That he really loves you, but that you were not ready for that, something like this, that caliber of relationship. If he were to come into your world at that time right now with your low, that happened to you and your vibration was so low, he would have actually had to belittle himself and lower his vibration to make it fit. And he could not do that. That would have been disempowering you. That would have been affirming your belief that you are not worthy. So once you heal this, this is what I'll say to people. I'm just pretending like I'm having a session. Once you heal this and raise your vibration, you will be able to draw a relationship to yourself like you want it, like with someone like me. Now that individual may have moved on and be involved with somebody else, but I have seen it happen where that other person does their healing and then that other person comes back into their life. So we do all this. Then sometimes, we'll pop in, certain things will pop in. Okay, we got to do a little Akashic Records work, or we got to do this or that. It's all tailored towards you. And what it is I'm correcting all of the energy imbalances. So now when we're finished, I feel your energy and it's wide, it's open, it's pulsating. People, when they open their eyes, they're usually bright and shiny. They say, I feel so much better. The room looks clear. I've even done this with my grandchildren, and little tiny kids can do it and understand the energy behind how things happened and heal from them. And then if they do it and know how to do that for their life, they don't get themselves in the mess that we sometimes get ourselves in. So I also want to cover Akashic Records is a grid that's listed on there. That's just, I don't exactly do readings, but what it is this is this grid in the earth. And when you're born, your issues you have that are unresolved, you're connecting with the memory that's still in the grid in the planet, and it makes it stronger. So we can work within that grid because there's also memories of happy lifetimes that went well, prosperous. So we'll do that sometimes. And the other thing that I just want to touch on really quick that I'm talking about in there, I hope I haven't forgotten anything else. It lists twin flames. Well, I will be doing a separate video on twin flames and exactly what that is. Now, I don't have any magic sessions where I can do something where the love of your life is going to come into your life. But if, say, you've scheduled an hour session and you want to work on this twin flame thing, what it is just like I described in that other situation, because I suppose, you could have a low vibrational twin flame energy where you're both very low, but it's going to be painful and you're probably going to break up. It's not going to be good because you're mirrors for each other. But when you raise your frequency to a certain level and you draw that equal vibrational match, which is a healthy, loving, wonderful relationship, it's magical. That's what that is. So I will help you to raise your vibration and help you to find the places that you're blocking that from happening so that you can draw that into your life. This is a whole nother subject. People get really caught up on it because they think, they're in a relationship and he's not my twin flame. And when's my twin flame coming? And really your twin flame could be a real twin. Your real twin flame You can have a relationship with somebody that's an equal vibrational match, and when you're in it, you can't tell the difference. I had a twin in this lifetime. He's now deceased. I do communicate with him, but we were never meant to have a relationship in this lifetime. It was going to be spiritual. So he came in as a gay man in this lifetime. And so we were just very good friends, and it was fine that we hung out. And like the story I just told you earlier, he actually told me that. I wasn't even thinking of it at the time, but now this is popping in. He actually told me that because I told him I didn't understand why we couldn't have been together this lifetime, why we did it this way. It was so hard. This is the communication I'm having with him after he's deceased, because I didn't know he was my twin when he was alive. I just knew he was very special to me. And what he said was the same thing. I would have had to, because you had things you were going to complete and work out this time. I would have had to lower my vibration so much to play certain roles for you, and we would have ended up hurting each other. So that's what he said. So again, my website is www.embody-light.com. Have a blessed day. I love you all. I hope this clears things up. Bye-bye.